And here we are.
There we are.
We are. So, welcome again to the Creative Real Estate Mastery Podcast, Creative Real Estate Investing Mastery Podcast.
There we go.
I don't every single time I leave out
What are you gonna do? It's a super long title.
every time.
Like we're in one of those niches that you just can't get away from the super long titles. You know, and I've tried a million times. I've even asked Skynet, as you affectionately call it. I've even asked Skynet, like, how can we do? How can we make this better? But I think at this point it would be kind of silly to rebrand the whole thing, and I don't know. Maybe it's on the table. Maybe it's on the chopping block. Who knows?
Oh, no more.
Anyway.
How are you doing today, Mr. Coffman?
I am excellent today, man. Not to get into the weeds on the whole injury thing, but this is I have officially surpassed the number of workouts that I've been able to get in over the past 2 weeks has surpassed the number that I was able to get in during the entire ordeal of this thing. And I've lost so much. I think what I've lost more than anything over that 3-month period was, obviously stamina. I'm not able to. I just can't get enough air. That's what it is. I can't get enough oxygen into my body, and that's, at least for me, that's the first thing to go whenever I take some time off or anything like that. But boy, it's discouraging on one hand, very discouraging, because I know where I was at, what level I was at. I keep very accurate records of that stuff. But I also know what I've ultimately decided is that I just need to break, just like anything else, just like in business, you got to break things down into small little incremental things, win at those things, and the rest will come. So I guess it's testing my patience is the best way to put it. I just want to be back into, and then of course, in a couple of weeks, that hiking adventure that I missed out when I got this injury back in July. I'm actually going back and going to finish out my summer in October, November. So I'm going back in a couple of weeks, and we've got some really good hikes planned. We're going to be gone for 7 days. I think we're going to do. I've got four really kind of hikes that step up in difficulty throughout the time we're there. So we're going to cover probably something like 40 to 45 miles or something like that. But yeah. So other than that, man, I'm good. I feel good, and it's going to be the weather's finally starting to break. We're not so all that dogged humidity that we deal with here. We don't have it anymore. It's all been pretty dry. So anyway, how about you, man?
Well, as we were talking about offline too, I've had better weeks. My father-in-law passed away a week ago today. He lives out in Colorado, lived out in Colorado, I guess. So I was out there with my wife. Got back a couple days ago. Trying to get back into the groove of things, which is never easy.
No, for sure.
Even though he wasn't as I mentioned to you, he wasn't in the best of health. But when you walk into the hospital room and you see all the lines and all that, and it's never easy, no matter how much you think you're prepared for that. If you got to my wife, well, it got to me, but it got to my wife especially. So I'm gonna pick her up today and see how she's doing, and get her a little break from being out there dealing with all that stuff. So
yeah, man.
But I need the podcast today, brother, to get my mind.
I hear you. Yeah, because you always have that little haunting little maybe imagery or some things that were said and in the back of your mind, I'm sure of it. I know that's going on right now. So, well, brother, I feel for you, especially feel for your wife. Both upstanding folks. So,
Appreciate
hope that things, well, they will get better. They will get better for
Yeah,
sure.
we'll work it out. We'll
Yeah,
work it out.
yeah.
So, with that said, what is our topic for today, Mr. Kaufman?
Okay, doke. So we've talked about this before. In fact, this is kind of the topic today that we're going to talk about. Is kind of I'm just I want to say it's a sore subject. It's not a sore subject. It's just something that that I have done in the past in this business, and I realized that it kind of wasn't for me. Doesn't take away my knowledge of understanding how to do it and what has to happen in order to get it done. But it's currently not the way that I do business, and that's by choice, 100% by choice. But we're going to talk about the investor mindset, moving from what we're calling a hustler, because a lot of you folks out there who are new to this business, you are definitely in the hustle mindset right now. Many of you are. Especially if you've never run a business before. So we're going to talk about moving from the hustler to the CEO, to someone who actually can scale their business, or maybe you can't, but you need to start taking steps to learn how to actually scale a business. Because there's a lot to it. There is a lot to it, and I think one of the things. I mean, this is something that's not taught, right? It's not taught in any school. It's not taught. In fact, very few mentors actually really teach people how to do this. It's just something that has to be experienced. You can't. You. It's almost like you can't just one day decide, well, I'm gonna scale my business and then expect that to be like proof, like it just comes into it comes to fruition. It just doesn't happen that way. And so we're going to talk about some of the steps that folks should at least consider taking, particularly when it comes to up here, to what's between your ears, and what it takes to actually scale a business.
So I like what you said by the hustler to CEO about, and it's really about focus,
Yeah.
right? It's really about focus. So I would like to, even though I don't want to admit this, but if I'm being honest, I would say that I was the consummate hustler when I still had a full-time job. Like I was still doing real estate.
Oh yeah.
And like, so you're kind of always in the hustler mindset. You're chasing the deals. Like, what's the next deal? What can I do this? And, we were doing a lot of fix and flips. We had a lot of rental properties, and it's like, okay, I got to hustle to get this. And okay, I'm going to put this in the rental portfolio and do all that. And it's just like, you're always about the deal or
Mm-hmm.
about getting the next deal or juggling this and juggling that. And you're not good. If I'm being honest, you're not good at any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you make money on your deals? Absolutely. I made a lot of damn money on the deals. Absolutely. Could I have made more? Yes. Could I have scaled better? Could I have brought in different partners at different times? Probably. But when you're just going deal to deal and you're hustling, and you have, I still had the full time 9 to 5 working for the man job, and so you got to weigh out all these things, right? There's only so much time in the day if I do this, but I really feel like this. I feel like I'm almost back in the hustler mode a little bit too. I was getting spread, so we've talked about it in other
We
podcasts,
are definitely.
being spread so thin. It's just like this is perfect for us because even though we're experienced at doing this and know, we still fall back. It's easy to do, especially when you're like, okay, yeah, this is too good to pass up. Let's grab this deal. Let's grab that deal. You know what I mean? Even though we're not, you don't have the marketing machine going on to it. It's a lot of word of mouth and from our students and all that. But it's one of those things. It's so perfect for me, Dale, because I feel like I'm getting getting pulled in so many different directions. So I appreciate this topic today. You came up with the topic today.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like I think that's important. We tend to default back to, um, at least I do, and I think you do too. We tend to default back to this hustle mode. That's just kind of, I think it's what we are as human beings. Number one, so it takes it's a mindset shift is what it takes. It's a total mindset shift, an operational type of shift. And quite honestly, I'm a little bit of a, maybe not adrenaline junkie is not the correct terminology or correct term that I'm trying to think of, but I thrive in that hustle for, this is like short bursts for, or yeah, short bursts for short periods of time. And I thrive on that until, of course, and we're going to get into this a little bit later, until, of course, what inevitably happens is the burnout starts to set in. And, that's when you realize, and of course, for us, in particular, this past, I don't know, this past year, we've been getting these, seemingly good deals. It's like, how do you, and so we've kind of overloaded ourselves with, maybe bit off a little bit more that we can chew.
Yeah.
And, it happens to every single one of us. And another thing that I've really learned is that kind of never goes away. It's just, it's for me, it's always in the back of my mind. Um, you know, and I have a problem maybe telling myself no, even more so than I have the problem of telling other people no. I have a problem of telling myself no, like, no, you can't take this on. And I just go, kind of think to myself, well, one more little project, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt a thing.
Just
And
one more.
yeah, just one more. So
That's good. So let's take a step back too and say, like, what we're defining, or what are we saying the attributes of the hustler, like the hustler mindset is too. And like you said, everybody, if we're all being honest, like every real estate investor starts out like this. You do it all yourself because you need to learn the business, right? You have to learn the business. So in order to learn the business, you have to do shit yourself. Like,
yeah,
that's just the way it is. You have to figure it out, especially if you're doing it part time, like I was starting out. It's just like, okay, but you have to figure this out. And so, right, what kind of energy do you have? Right, it's kind of the thrust, like, okay, I can do this, I can get in there. I went to some courses, I'm ready to go and do all this. um, but man, it can wear you down, like you just said, it can wear you down. So the hustler, right, like, for sure, the new real estate investor we would categorize as the hustler. It's chasing the deal. It's doing, you got your marketing machine going, right? We have a lot of great marketing classes, like, get your marketing machine going, get your marketing going and all that. The marketing piece alone can be kind of a full-time job, can't it?
oh,
Especially if you decide, okay, I'm going to do some wholesaling. Wholesaling is a full-time job.
yeah, yeah,
For sure, that's what it is.
yeah.
So if you want to do fix it, if you want to do, say, okay, I'm just going to do wholesaling, and then I'm going to do some fix and flips and all that stuff here. Yeah, probably not. Like, you're going to be a wholesaler. Like, that's what you're going to do if that's what you want to do. So
Yeah, and by the way, I we talk about this hustle, but during this conversion from that hustle mindset to a CEO mindset, I still do think it's wise that um, if it's something, I just think that you need to understand. Here I go again already. Sorry. I do think you need to understand every aspect of what you are trying to scale. So there's a period of time where it is a requirement for you to hustle, like, whether you like it or not, or maybe whether you've decided to move into the scaling, the scaling side of things, and I think it's still really smart to get in there and get your hands dirty. I think you need to understand the mechanics and all of the moving pieces in your business before you attempt to scale anything. There's a common little tagline. I'm sure you've heard it before. And it is that you can't scale chaos. And so, how do you get rid of chaos? What is it? If your business is running in a chaotic fashion, it does not make sense, and you don't understand everything that's going on inside the business. It does not make sense for you to even try to outsource that stuff because you don't fully understand every aspect of your business. So I do think there's a lot of value in going out and swinging some hammers, getting dirty, drywall mud and painting your hair. Like there's, even if that's your, if you're not wholesaling, of course, you're going to have to do that at some point. And I think it's unrealistic to think that you can just start day one and start outsourcing things that you don't truly understand are, how important they are to know inside and out.
I think what you said is so true. So, and this was definitely true for me. Like I wanted to understand all the different aspects of it. So at kind of the height of things, right? We had about a dozen rental properties, still working full time. Had about a dozen rental properties, had a fix and flip going on, right? In the background, like you say, you always have to fix and flip in the background. Had the fix and flip going on in the background, right? If that's possible to have a fix and flip in the background. And then you still got this marketing going on, right? I was selling, I was sending out direct mail and all this. So you had to respond to that. And at a certain point in time, like it all comes crumbling down on you. It's just like, okay, I got to fix this. And now when you start getting 10, 12, or even 8, 6, 8, 10, 12 rental properties, or you're buying holds and right, should have been seller financing those back in the day instead of having should have been a straight landlord. You don't know what you don't know. Should have been instead of a straight landlord. Like there's always one to fill. You know what I mean? The lease is coming up. You got to get another tenant in there. So then you got to market and list that. Then you got to, and there's always a repair. And we were self-managing that. I was like, I'm not paying 10% for some damn ass to come over here and manage my stuff when I can manage. You know what I mean? So I got to learn all the management too. And it just comes crashing down.
Yeah.
Right. It comes crashing down. You can't do it all. You have to focus.
Yeah, I do believe since you're talking about management, you just brought this subject into my brain. I think that you need to, especially these days, like we've talked about this a million times, but like if you do need to learn if you're going to have rental properties, you do need to learn how to self-manage your rental properties. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially these days, you can't. It is 10% today in this market today can absolutely. I mean, it can destroy your rental business if you're running rentals. And so yeah, that's throw that on the pile, if you will. Like I mean, that is just something that is. And I think if you're a smart landlord, you will learn the whole side of that, kind of playing on what we're talking about here. You'll learn the whole side of that management business, and then you'll be able to actually, once you understand it and you have your policies and procedures and everything in place, now you can actually systematize that. You can document that information in those SOPs, and now you can hire that out to somebody perhaps in-house to take care of that for you.
Yep. Or as we might suggest and teach too, seller finance them. Yeah. So you're not a landlord anymore.
Yeah.
Seller finance it out into, which is what the model is now, right? It's just it's funny. I was talking to now stay with me on this. My wife's sister's husband who is not actually my brother-in-law, right?
Oh, okay. I was going to say that's your brother-in-law.
No, my sister-in-law's husband, who is not actually have any title relationship to me, right? Right? Because he's not my brother-in-law,
Right.
my
Right.
sister-in-law's husband.
Hmm.
Anyway, I was talking to him. They had their deal fall through. They were trying to sell their house. It fell through. They had a contract on another house. It all fell through. And I'm sitting here listening to that. This is like I'm shaking my. Actually, my sister-in-law was telling me that. I was shaking my head, and I'm just thinking, okay, well, we can probably fix that. But then later, I got in a conversation with my brother-in-law, and it's just like, and he says, well, like you, a real estate agent. He made a comment, and I'm like, no, that's not what I do. I was like, maybe there needs to be some clarity about, and that got me to thinking, there needs to be some clarity about what do I do? I'm a real estate investor.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm a creative real estate investor nowadays, right? Like you made me see all the light on that to a larger extent. And now we're also real estate debt fund managers, right? We've made so those are the things we're focusing on. And I told him, and I said, no, that's not what I do. I said, I could do 100+ deals a year, but that's a full-time job.
Hmm.
Like I don't want to do that. I am in the enviable position of being able to pick and choose what I want to do. And what I choose to do now is partner with our students on deals.
Hmm.
Like we still have some stuff that comes across, like we were just talking about, that comes across the plate. It's like, okay, this is kind of a no-brainer. We should go ahead and grab this or whatever. Like we still do that because it just seems like a no-brainer. But by and large, like we don't have the marketing machine going. I don't think you do. Like we get word of mouth stuff. We partner with our students. Like that's what I like to focus on. And that took me a while to shift, right? The mindset is like I don't have to chase down 100 deals. You can. There's nothing wrong with that. Like it's just what I choose. I don't choose to do that because I don't have to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. That's the big question. I think that's the very first um, really big question that everyone needs to ask themselves is, is scale even necessary? Is it even, like I said, I'm not even going to say that I did it because I did not, I didn't accomplish, I didn't get to the point where, I was totally and I don't really think that anybody gets totally hands off. I'm just saying I got to a point where I was managing people more so than, projects. Of course, you have. I say that rather, kind of tongue in cheek because you're always managing projects. There's always a decision that needs to be made. But for me, it was like, okay, once I experienced that, once I saw how that side of the business runs, and quite honestly, simply the overhead was just, for me, it was unbearable. It was just, managing people and, make sure everyone got paid and I mean, it's a big responsibility, and it's for some people love it. I particularly me, uh, I liked managing the projects, but I did scale that back to where I just had like subcontractors. I had a group of people that I hired, and that became my team. I didn't have, as I like to say, I like to run lean and mean at all times. But so I would actually enjoy writing checks to the subcontractors. I still get a kick out of that today. I love to see people succeed. But you know, for me, for managing people in house, it just didn't. Uh, it wasn't my. Um, I don't know how to say it. It just didn't. It seemed like you were saying. It seemed more like a job, and that's just not. And I don't want to have to go into the office every day. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Not saying you can't stay at home, but and I guess going to the office doesn't matter where that is physically located. It matters more sort of just the running through the motions. if I say I'm going to the office, I'm coming into this room that I'm in right now. But I just didn't like the whole aspect of the a super large business, and it just didn't serve me. I spent way more time trying to manage and run that um, than doing the things that I like to do. So, I mean, there's a weights and balances there. I mean, there's a lot that you got to consider when you decide to do this.
Yep. No, that's exactly right. So I come from, for those of you that may be watching this, so I come from a human resources background, right? Well, education, and then I ended managing human resources. So I'm like, I had managed all the employees for the school district. Like I worked for one school district, we had over 1,000 employees. Like another school district, we had 750 employees. Like when you're in real estate, each property is like its own employee,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I just decided that, right, from the experience of managing, like herding all these cats, like the employees, like I didn't want to recreate that over here with my real estate business, even though it seems great when you're sitting in the guru classes, right? When I'm sitting, because I started out with Rich Dad Education, when I'm sitting in the Rich Dad Education classes and hearing all this and like, okay, we can scale that. We need to have one in the pipeline every month and all this stuff. That all sounds great and terrific, but it's just not like when you actually start getting in there and understanding the business, as you said, and understanding how the things work. Like if you want to focus on foreclosures, whatever your niche is in there too. You, I just decided that I didn't want to have 100 employees in real estate deals. I didn't want to manage that because what I want from real estate, what I actually achieved from real estate was freedom. 100 deals a year for me wasn't freedom; it was
No,
another job.
yeah.
And so I didn't want that. So real estate was freedom to me, and so I learned how to do enough to meet my goals. Now, could I have done more? Could I think larger like we do now? Like we're going larger now. We have our own real estate fund. Like we're going in on all that. So yes, we are scaling up now in a different way. It's doing that. But at the time, you're exactly right. Like I just didn't want that. It wasn't something that I wanted. Did real estate get me out into my 9 to 5 job? Absolutely, it did. So I was still able in my own way to make it work for me.
You mean you don't get to take pictures in front of your Ferrari?
Well, that's another thing I was mentioning that like I don't know if you know about me, but I don't have a very large ego. Like I don't I like to be the millionaire next door that you don't know is there.
100%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I I drive my wife drives my Lincoln now, but my wife drives a 2013 12-year-old Lincoln.
Yeah.
I now have a lease on a new Chevy,
Yeah.
right? I mean I don't need that stuff. I don't need it. I'd
Yeah. I
rather
mean,
I'd rather take 2 more vacations a year with friends and family.
yeah. It's funny you say that. We actually, so the house that I live in, um, with my wife, of course, was the first house she ever bought. And early on when I had a W two and everything, I thought it was way out of reach, to uh, I don't know, to go out and move and kind of keep up with the Joneses and go get a bigger, better, fancier house. And now that I'm older, now that we own this house, we don't owe anything on it, and it's like, really, what is? I mean, I get that you want to be comfortable in your house and everything, but it's like, what am I really after here? My house, I consider it now. I consider it to be just home base. Because ultimately the lifestyle that we want to live is we want to be able to travel. We want to be able to, you know, go do the things that we love to do. And being tied down by something that you're just sleeping in, really. I mean, you're sleeping here. You eat here. You use the bathroom. Like what? I don't. I just don't. I'm very appreciative of the decision that we made to not, like I said, go out and chase the Joneses and get the big fancy house and everything. Now, I mean, not going to say I'm not going to live in I'm going to live in squalor. Our house is nice,
Right.
but it's like I don't look at it that way anymore. It's just and so
How
I
much
guess
is enough? How,
yeah,
how much is enough?
yeah.
Right.
How much? Very good way to put it. How much is enough? Like,
Yep.
what are you really doing? What do you really need? What do you really need to achieve the long term outcome that you want to have for your life? And I can tell you right now, we're living it pretty good. I mean, it's nice. We don't have many worries here in the
Yep.
Coffman household. So,
Yep. Yeah.
um,
You're right. So, okay, so we talked about the hustler, right?
mhm,
And ultimately the hustler, right? The hustler mindset in real estate where you're chasing the deals, chasing the different aspects of, you don't have focus. You're just grabbing this deal, grabbing that deal. Marketing, you're going out, meeting with all the sellers too. So eventually that all kind of cascades on you and you're like, okay, I can't keep doing this. So either I have to hire somebody to do it or I have to hire out the marketing, which is totally fine, right? If that's what you want to do. But you have to change how you go about doing things, and you need to be the chief executive officer of your real estate business.
yeah,
So let's talk a little bit about how do you make that shift? Like what actually are some tips that we suggest like to make the shift and to make it a business, a true business that you run and the business doesn't run you?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, number one, uh, when you're a hustler, you are reactionary. You react to your surroundings versus on the opposite that side of the coin, the CEO, uh, they actually plan around. They actually um, have a plan for what's coming versus, or they plan what's to be next.
That's
One of the
right.
two. That there's no you're not in reactionary. You're not in a reactionary mindset or reactionary mode. Um, and you could say you go from urgency, reaction to priority, which is actually planning out what the business is going to be doing for the foreseeable. Like for us, we plan it. We go by your classic kind of business models. We operate quarterly. There's 4 quarters in a year. What do you want to accomplish in? Maybe you don't have the end of the year, which you probably should, the end of the year in mind, but what's up for the next quarter? What are we doing here? For the next 3 months, do we have the funding to do what we want to accomplish for the next 3 months? And what is going to be the return on that investment in your business? So that would be number one. Um, then we go from how do we want to say this one? From
Micro the micromanager to the leader of your business.
correct. There you go. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. The micromanagers, the ones they got their digits in everything. They got their little claws in every little thing. Um, whereas the CEO, and that's the hustler, where the CEO, they have trust. They have to build trust in who they're hiring. But in order to be able to do that, like we touched on this a little bit earlier, the CEO has to know all the moving parts of whatever it is they're entrusting into someone
Yes.
else, so that they can identify, obviously, if there are anything goes awry.
You,
Um, and
you can't
so,
delegate. Sorry if it was you
yeah,
can't delegate properly if you don't know what you're delegating.
right.
It's learning
But
the business.
ultimately,
Yep.
yeah, but ultimately, and this is a this is a sticking point for the majority, I think, of people who are making that transition into a CEO. The sticking point is actually letting go. The sticking point is
Letting
handing
the
something
people do
off to
the
someone,
work.
trusting that they're going to do it without you getting it. And I'm telling, man, so many people are bad at that. I'm,
Terrible.
myself included. It's
I'm
very hard.
terrible.
Like,
Terrible at it. Yep.
Yes, yeah. I mean, like literally just it's the if you want it done right, I got to do it myself type of mentality. And I'm a bit of, when it comes to systems and stuff like that, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I mean, you've seen um, some of our kind of back end processes and stuff as far as like maybe workflows
Mm.
and funnels and stuff like that. Like I am so slow at that, just because and I've said it to you many times, like I don't want anybody touching our website but us. Like that's
Yep.
it. I don't like,
Yep.
and I know that's wrong. You have to allow people to get in there and even fail. You have to allow them to fail because it's how they're going to learn. But it's a very, very tough thing to do, is to let go of your quote your babies. You know.
Yep.
So
But I don't. Yes, letting go, but you have to train your people. So let's say if you want to delegate something, let's say you're maybe it's a virtual assistant, or now maybe it's even AI, maybe Skynet. Well, you have to teach Skynet, like, and Skynet can do a lot of good things for you as it relates to marketing and leads and social media posts and all that bullshit, right? It's really probably pretty good at that. It is actually, because I've used it myself. Like, I'm being honest, for all of that too. But you still have to train it. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't know. You have to tell it certain things, just like, or you have a virtual assistant, or you bring on a partner, whatever. It's like you have to have parameters, and we're much better at this. But at the beginning, it's like, okay, I got to stay in my lane over here because I'm not good at this. And like, you're good at this, and I need to let you do this, and all that stuff too. Like, we're much better at that, but it's hard to navigate that. But you
yeah,
have to you have to know the business and what you're trying to delegate, and then tell them how you want it done. Don't just assume someone knows something. Like, great, cool, like, I'm really bad at that,
yeah.
right?
That's very
So you gotta tell the people, like, and then let them do their job.
Yeah, prime example. I've been through 6 or 7 VAs at this point, um, and I haven't had a VA. I mean, well, no, we had a couple of VAs
Yep.
early on, but prior to that, just in my real estate business, I had six or seven different VAs, and what I didn't realize was that, again, I'm going back to the knowledge about the business. I didn't know what I was handing off to the VA. And so ultimately what I ended up doing was spending all of my time trying to figure out things for the VA to actually do. I mean, it was total madness. As I was coming up with kind of these ad hoc, we would use Slack a lot, and we'd come up with these ad hoc kind of processes and systems on the fly, and I would hand it off, and then I go in there 2 or 3 days later and realize, look at it, like this is there's nothing being done that it might perceive the way I wanted it done, and it was totally on me, 100% on me. I just didn't hand off which actually leads into kind of our next little bullet point, but moving from uh, transactions into systems, into real repeatable processes, and that is what I was doing to this VA. And I honestly, I felt sorry for these VAs. Once initially I'm pissed, right? Initially I'm just like, these people can't do anything right. And then I quickly realized, you know what, they can't do anything right because they don't know, they haven't been coached up in what I actually want them to do. I've not handed them a repeatable
Yep. The system.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the process for whatever you want them to do. Right. The
right,
system. Yep.
right.
Yep. And that's hard too. I mean,
Yeah,
that's even hard for me to system. Like, talk about your transactions. So the system to do a deal, right? You acquire the property, right? So you have a closing. So you have the contract system, right? The purchase agreement. Then you have to get it to the closing. There's a closing process and procedure, right? That's what we're talking about there. Like, have checklists, use the checklist. And I get bad about this sometimes too, like, because I'm the guy that created all the checklists, right? So I mean, I know what's on the checklist, but sometimes I don't bother to print it out and use it, right? Because I think I know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
So I'm gonna hold this up here for just a second.
that's right.
This is our, if you
That's
can see
the
it.
outline. Yep.
This is literally my. These are, you can break this entire business down into these 6 systems.
So, yep.
I'm not sure if we've got this available for folks out there.
Only if they come in. Only if they come in as a member.
Well, there's a. I think there is actually a course that we have out there. With, oh no, we did the.
Yeah, there's a course.
One of the weekend boot camps we
I
did.
wonder if we. Yeah, there it is, right there. It's in this one.
Yeah.
Right there. Ultimate Creative REI Blueprint, right there. It's all about the system.
So if you look at this real quick, it's broken down into 6 different systems. This is the Ultimate Creative Real Estate Investing Formula. It's broken down into 6 different pillars. Each one of these pillars has its own little subsystem. I don't know how to place this thing.
Yeah,
Each one of these pillars has its own little subsystem in here, and literally, an entire business can be run off of this one sheet of paper.
Yep.
And so
that's the backbone.
It is the backbone.
Yep. Yep.
And so, like what you're saying, there's literally a system for everything. There's a if you're talking about marketing, there's a system for creating ads, for building Google ads, for example. There's a system for TV ads. There's a system for direct mail, and these are all the little things. This is why scaling is not something that you want to probably immediately aspire to do. These are the things that you need to understand. These are the things that you need to break down.
Yep. Yeah, and, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because that's where in that course right there that we did. I really enjoyed that one too. By the way,
that was a good one. That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Is that we really talk about the systematizing of the deal process, especially the buy and hold. Right, because we take it to the buy and hold side of it, and of course we have the creative thing all the way through that. But that was really good. That was really good news. Like, I'm glad you mentioned
that. So I think we've kind of covered the power of processes and how they are essential. They are essential. Having a system, and also I just want to mention that. You said the term earlier. It's like herding cats. You can get so overwhelmed by all these systems.
Yeah.
Or all these the creation of all these systems and how you want to do things. And by the way, those things change constantly.
Yeah.
Like, you might have a system for, let's say, marketing direct mail. Well, within that system, you got to build a list. Maybe you got to build 3 lists. And you market to those lists. Well, guess what? What if those lists don't perform? It's all those little things that you have to think about. Like, how do you pivot from one list to another? How does that, there has to be a process for you to make that pivot. And it has to be repeatable over and over and over again. That's just one tiny example amongst, a couple of hundred different little processes and systems that are likely to be a part of your business eventually. So,
don't you think that might be one of the leading reasons why real estate investors aren't successful? It's
not just
the devil's in the details.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to say that it can't be managed, because obviously it can. They're very successful real estate investors, right? But you have to understand what you're getting into and how you're going to manage that.
Yeah.
And you can't sit there and overthink it. Create a system. If it doesn't work, do something else, right? Just like you mentioned, if the list isn't doing anything for you, find a different list, right? Maybe your postcard sucks. Like there's all kinds of different reasons for that. That's why I like doing the coaching and stuff too. It's like, okay, folks, like we've done some of this stuff. Here's what we know works. Just try it and see. And then you don't have to spend all your time figuring some of the stuff out on your own. The detail stuff, I mean. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You still have to know the business, but the detail stuff, like you don't have to overthink the marketing. Just go get the marketing class. You know what I
That's
mean? And
true
do
too. Yeah, there's a definitely a fine line. And I think the way that my brain works is this is flawed, by the way. But the way that my brain works is I want it as close to perfect as I can possibly get it the first go around, because I hate coming back around and fixing things. I can't stand it. It's definitely a flaw. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I'm talking about me, but but also I do recognize that having this is something that my wife really taught me and about business, and that's to have like a minimal viable product, an MVP, um, something that works with uh, that covers all the bases, but it's not so detailed that you have to stress out about it. And this is where I'm flawed, because I stress out about the little things a whole lot.
Yeah,
But
I do too. Yeah, no, I do too. It's hard
you
not to.
do, yeah, yeah, you definitely do.
I
Yeah,
do. So it's like because I look like I'm the numbers guy. So when I'm looking at the spreadsheet, I'm like, it's not working out. The
yeah,
spreadsheet projections are not working out. So
yeah,
yeah, it gets a little stressful sometimes.
yeah. So let's. Uh, have we talked enough about systemization
Oh, I
and
think
process?
so.
Okay.
And it's about so I think the last piece of the puzzle, though, which is like the last big area, I think on our list, we make cheat sheets, by the way,
Oh,
of our
100%.
outline, so we can stay on topic, even though we don't always stay on topic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Very rarely do we.
the last big thing I think is, again, having the mindset that you have a business and you run and operate a business. It doesn't operate you. The deals don't control you. You control the deals, right? So for a real estate business, like you control, going back, you control the processes, you control the systems, you control the deals, you control how much flow you want, how big do you want, how do you want to do that? And to scale, right? We talked about, okay, you can hire people that are better than you in an area that you're weak. Like you are 10 times, 100 times probably, if I'm being honest, a better marketer than I am. Like I hate it,
Yeah,
right?
that's
You seem to love it. So it's like partner with people that accentuate, right? That have different strengths than you, so that you can have them focus on their strengths and have a better overall business.
yeah. Some people might look at us, and I have a very different personality than you do. We're probably on. I mean, we have definitely have some common goals and some common ground, but we're just so different. But and some people, I think, might look at that and go like, how did these guys how did these guys ever
Yeah.
connecting it? But that is something that I think we were, at least from my perspective, I was very smart in choosing you as a partner, just because you do things that I can't even. I'd rather I'd rather dig my eyes out with spoons doing something. I just don't like. There's just some things, and it's not that I couldn't find somebody that could do that, but you actually enjoyed it. It's like we've taken we were talking about the Gallup strengths test this morning. My wife and I were, and it's almost like we took like a strength test or a personality test, and we didn't. By the way, we did not do that, but it's almost like that match. Um, we matched up so well, because just other than just being friends and being friendly, um, we complement one another in a way. I think that um, I don't know. I just I appreciate it. I am, I've never been a big. I've said this a million times. I've never been a big partner guy, but I know when I have come to the conclusion that I know when I need uh, another team member who is way better at the things like that you do than I will ever be, and I'm not going to even attempt to try to do them because I'll either I'll screw it up or you know just won't, or I'll get sick of it and I won't do it. Much like kind of like my taxes. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's the same sort of feeling. It's not just taxes. It would just be, just a lot of the things uh, that you get into the weeds with that I have zero interest in doing. I'll do it, but it's not going to last long. It's not going. There's no longevity there. I can guarantee it.
Well, it's funny you say that because I think the same thing for a lot of things like, in the opposite direction. But it's you say that I like to do that. It's just, I've become good at particular things because it's in my strength area. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So it does not take me that long to do the spreadsheet or to do to prep the taxes or to do the closing package over or whatever, because I just know the items that need to be done, and I just check. It's like a checklist thing for me a lot of
Yeah.
times too.
Yep.
So it's just going back to the system, and the system or that process is inside of my strengths, and that's what I
Right.
try to stay into as well. Just
Yeah.
like
If let's, I'm just gonna tell you this. That's one of the probably maybe one of the complaints that I would ever have about you is that what your strength is with the with those checklists and those things, those don't necessarily apply to other things that like I don't know, I can't think of anything right now, but um,
social media posts.
well, that's a good example. Yeah, it's like
Not a checklist for that, right?
yeah, it's like your checklist says go make a social media post. So you go make a social media post, and it doesn't matter, if it's a quality post or not. It doesn't matter. It's a checklist item, and that's kind of the way you operate. See, now that is not something that I think is beneficial. I would rather you just stay away from the social media posts. you
I've
know.
gotten better though. I've gotten better at it. Yes,
Oh
yeah,
no, it's no big, it's not that. I'm just saying like if it's this is a little bit of my perfectionist type of stuff coming out too. It's like it's got to have it's got to be structured a certain way and all this. Which honestly,
yeah.
I'm terrible with the longevity thing of it. I can do that. I can create the post. I think I can make compelling copy, but I don't have I think the long term drive to do it. I just don't like social media all that much, but yeah, but like it's such a good example, man. You definitely you hit the nail on the head there.
Well, I hate that too. But the other thing too is sometimes I have to force myself, or even you, like you have to force yourself to get out of your comfort zone to
Yeah,
grow
that's true.
as a business owner. So even though the social media posts 2 years ago were terrible, and they're still not as good as yours today, they're better, right? Because you got to force yourself to do it in
Yeah.
there. And now, of course, I just have Skynet help me, and I don't know. Supposedly they're better, right?
Well, I think yeah, I think you definitely have like you. This is wild because you have the kind of the longevity of like it's okay. Okay, today is Monday. I gotta do. I have the social media post today.
Mm.
Where me,
Yep.
I'm just like, willy nilly, like I gotta make. You know what I gotta do? I gotta create a social media post. That's what I gotta do. So I just do it. Where I don't really have a plan for it. It's just, but so this is where like the partnership thing can really help out. I think this is. And by the way, anybody listening, you don't have to have a partner to do social media posts. I'm just saying, like,
Just an example. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So
So
That
All
was good.
right, what else we got here? What else on our
I
little?
think I think that's probably well. I think we have a little tidbit here on link that I think is good. Your job isn't to do deals; it's to build a machine and a system that does the deals.
Yeah,
Like your business is the one that's doing the deals. You specifically don't have to be the one doing the deals. You should be starting out. Well, let's go back and tie this all again. When you're starting out and trying to figure it out, you should be doing the deals 100%.
yeah,
But at a certain point, you need to decide, right? That tipping point that you get to, you need to decide how you want to operate your business. And maybe you do want to be, we'll call it the sole proprietor and continue to do deals. It's totally fine. But we're saying if you want to get to the next level, this is just some suggestions that we have to do that.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm not sure that we. Yeah, I hope we conveyed that well. I mean, you have a choice here. You don't have to. There's all these prescribed. I was actually talking about this with a guy this morning about how when I was working at W-2, we had and I think every company does this, where they have this prescribed sort of growth path for their employees. You do this for a certain length of time, then we want you to go into, maybe be, I don't know, an assistant manager or something. But once you do that for this prescribed amount of time, then we want you to be. It's like, no, no, you're not. You don't work for anyone. You get to make up your own mind. So knock it off. If you don't want to scale, then don't scale. I will tell you, it's worked out for me. I love where I'm at. I was not happy during that process, and but if you're the type of person that can handle it, not that can handle it, everybody can handle it, that enjoys it, and that does it well, then that's the direction that you move.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so just to summarize it, if you want to, like, if what we throw down every week, right, resonates with you, you want to partner with us, like there's the tag there. We have the partner program, the deal partner program. We also have the Creative Finance Academy, which is the next level down to do that. More than welcome. We're glad to help you out and do deals. We have a lot of successful students that are still doing a lot of deals, even as we speak, right? So, uh, and we're just trying to suggest today, don't be penny wise and dollar foolish. I tell this to my dad all the time. My dad will spend 3 hours chasing $5. I charge when I consult with people, like when I do human resources consulting outside of real estate. I mean, I charge $195 an hour for my time. Don't be penny wise and dollar foolish, right? Figure out what you want to do and how you want to get there.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think it's going to do it. Wow, it's an hour in.
I know.
Hey
Turn
man,
around.
you get me rolling.
I noticed that. It's
Yeah,
all
we had just the one little. This is so funny. We're talking about this today, and I had this very conversation this morning, um, and it had to do with. Oh man, I'm zoning on what I was going to say now. But no, it had to do with that work. I'll just save it for next time. I'll try and figure out what I was going to say. I'll save it for next time. How about that? I was totally zoned what I was going to say. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for joining us. We will catch you guys next week. Any parting words, Ken?
nope. Have a great week.